Now, we're in a per capita recession right now. It's something we mention on this program frequently. And the Australian reports today that this is the longest per capita recession we have had in the past 50 years. Economists are warning that this trend will continue. But Dan, we've got Treasurer Jim Chalmers defending the Albanese government's record on economic management. How can he do that given these numbers and the numbers showing that Australian households are suffering the worst decline in living standards since the 1950s?
Well, it's good to see the Canberra bubble has finally caught up to this. I mean, we've been talking about this for months on end, that we're in a per capita recession, and it's the longest since Whitlam. I mean, the IPA has pointed that out 6 months ago, that this is what's happening. So finally, the mainstream media and the establishment and their favourite economists have finally caught up to the reality, which is that mass migration makes Australians poorer. That's what's happening. The only growth strategy of this government is population growth, not productivity growth. And as you know, Rita, yes, of course, if you bring more people into an economy, the size of the economic pie will get bigger. But the slice of that economic pie that every Australian is getting smaller. And they've got no plan for how to boost our productivity growth, and instead are doubling down on this failed migration strategy. So, look, I think the government's got a real problem here. They don't have any way of growing the economy. This is a redistributionist government, not a growth government. So I think, Jim Chalmers has been found, as we head to MyEFO, which will be coming out next month, has been found to not have any meaningful economic policies up his sleeve.
If you want to know what Australia is going to look like if we had 10 years of the Albanese government, then look at Victoria. The state is broke. State taxes are soaring. Businesses are fleeing. And taxpayers are paying for Labor's massive infrastructure projects, which have blown out by over $40 billion and counting. Just have a look at these three projects. There's plenty of others I could quote, but Melbourne Metro, it's jumped up the blowout there by $4.7 billion. We've got the North East Link. The blowout there is $10.3 billion. And the Westgate Tunnel is $3.9 billion. Dan, you look at how these projects are travelling and you can understand why the state is in the financial peril it's in.
Well, that's exactly right. Victoria has been driven into the ground by a decade of bad policy decisions, and, they can't just blame it on COVID. This happened before COVID. It's been happening after COVID. And the reality is that every single rock that you look under, there's more debt. They keep discovering more debt every single day. I don't know whether anybody in the Victorian government actually knows the true state of Victoria's underlying fiscal position. It is now becoming increasingly apparent that the rest of Australia is going to have to bail out Victoria. Unlike in the Kennett era, when there were similar issues in the early 1990s when Victoria was in a deep recession and Kennett largely restructured the economy, sold off the assets to pay down the debt. Well, there's almost no assets left to sell off. So there's real problems. And now this government in Victoria is simply increasing taxes. It's the highest taxing government in the nation, the highest debt government in the nation, the highest spending government in the nation. And this is a warning to everyone else in Australia. Do not go down the path of Victoria. Otherwise, you will see significant economic calamity, businesses leaving, people leaving. It's going to take at least a decade to restructure and fix the mess that Victorians have now been left with.